Hi, this is Fancy Cross with RSSS, and we're going to be talking about looking up or listing a customer in this training demonstration. Anytime you're going to sell or rent an item in your store, or even handle other various functions against a customer record, you will need to look up the customer first. If the customer is already present in the system, you may do transactions against that customer record. If the customer is not present, you will need to add the customer record. In any event, a customer listing can be brought up various ways to find or list the customer records. I am on the daily menu, and I'm going to select number 2. New rental agreement, press enter through the printer and file path name to get to the customer maintenance or the listing screen where you look up the customers. At this customer name prompt right here, you can enter the customer's name, last name first, the customer's account number if they are an established customer, and press F4 if you do it that way, the customer's address, the customer's driver's license number, the customer's home phone number, or by the Social Security number. And then you would press the corresponding function key here associated with that lookup. You can enter any of the information in full or partial form. Now let's go over the various ways that you can look up or list the customer from this screen, regardless of which task you will be doing against that customer record, whether you're adding a new agreement or taking a payment or some other function. Let's look up the customer John Smith, and we're going to look him up the various ways. So I type in his last name Smith and press enter. I'm going to press enter through this first name prompt here. And as you can see, it starts my list with the last name Smith, starting with the A's. So I'm going to press F1 till we see John Smith. So let's see here. Now if you notice here, we have 2 John Smiths. Now the customer that has the asterisk on the record already has a current agreement. So we already know this gentleman here has open agreements, and this particular John Smith on Avatar Lane does not. We verify that it is this John Smith that already has an open agreement. He's come in to rent something else. So we're going to highlight his record, and we would go in and continue to add the new agreement. I'm going to press F8 and go back and look him up differently. Now we're going to look him up again with the last name Smith, except this time we're going to type in John. Now let's type in J and press enter. Now I still, as you can see, it started with JA, which is Jack Smith, that started with him on the list, so I'm still going to have to press F1 to move forward till I see a John Smith on the screen here. Then I would have to go down and highlight his record, press enter, and then continue on with the task. Let's press F8 and go back. Now let's look him up using his full name, John Smith, and press enter. As you see, the very first record that happened to come up is the one that I would be selecting, and it's already highlighted. So let's press F8. I do want to mention that you can look up a customer by name by keying any partial information you can to narrow the list that will appear. I could have even keyed SM in this case, for instance, and it would start the listing. As you notice, it doesn't start with Smith. But you can use full or partial information in most of these cases, or the way you're looking up, and it will work. So I'm going to press F8 and go back to the customer name prompt. Now let's look him up by address, and let's just enter 3215 and then press the F1 key, because that's what we're going to be doing, is looking him up by address. And I wasn't sure about the street name earlier, so I chose to look the record up this way, and I wasn't sure how the Southwest here was abbreviated. So I went ahead and just looked up the 3215. Now I'm going to press F8 and let's look him up by driver's license number. 3332211 is his driver's license number. And I'm going to press F2. And as you can see, he's the first record on the listing here. It brings up anything from that number on for this particular listing. I'm pressing F8. Now we want to look him up, let's say, with his Social Security number. So we would have to type in, and let's say he's just giving us the first 3 digits of his Social Security number, because some people will not give you the full Social Security number. So we're going to look up, he gives us 654, and we're going to have to mask the rest of the Social Security number fields. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to press F3 down here. And if you notice, it brings up his record here. Now, I would like to mention that with this field here, when you're doing the lookup, you cannot precede this lookup with zeros and mask the Social Security number. For example, you can't look him up by his last 4 digits of his social by entering all zeros and then the 0784, which would be the last 4 digits of his social. You can only enter legitimate Social Security number digits first and then mask here the rest of the digits with zeros so that it will fill in the 9-digit Social Security number field totally for the lookup to guarantee the results you're going to receive on the customer list. Now I'm going to press F8 and we're going to look him up by his home phone number. So I'm going to enter 111, which is the area code. Then I'm going to enter 888-1234, which is the rest of his phone number. And I'm not entering any formatting, no dashes whatsoever. And then I'm going to press the F6 key here. And because I'm in the task of adding a new agreement, it automatically brings me into that particular task. If I was taking a payment, it may bring the listing up, and I'd have to select the correct John Smith, and then it may bring the take payment screen up, or it would bring the take payment screen up. It all depends. So you can see it was taking me directly to the task, and it's skipping the listing where we have to highlight the record and press enter. If there happens to be other customers with or without open agreements with this same home phone number, you may have to look them up differently if their particular record won't come up by home phone number lookup. So I'm going to press F8. Goes back to the customer maintenance. Now let's go press F8 again, and let's go into take a payment. So I'm going into the screen, and we're going to bring up John Smith's record. We're going to highlight it. It comes up highlighted. And then we want to press F3 down here to display his AR or rent-to-own history. Now, if you notice here, it's listing the ticket number, the sequence number of the ticket status, and it tells you that the ticket status is open or closed. It tells you how many times the ticket has been paid late, the agreement date, the next due date if the ticket is closed, the closed reason, and the closed date. Now I am pressing return as it states here, which is the enter key, and then it takes me back to the customer maintenance screen. Now I would like to mention you see a couple of other fields here, the F4 to change and the F6 to add a customer. Please view the training demo on changing customer data for the F4 add and the F6 change the customer record information explanations. I'm going to press F8 and take us back to the main customer maintenance screen where we started here. to explain the looking up and the listing of the customer. This concludes this training demonstration on how to look up or list customers. I hope you enjoyed the session, and please check out the additional training videos when you need to or when you get a chance to. Have a wonderful day.